Good morning. We are on Kuf Yud Aleph Amud Beis 111b, very top of the line. We continue our discussion on negative spiritual energy and its connection to various locations and various activities. Specifically today, we're going to be looking at shadows, trees, different types of trees, different types of negative spiritual energy with different names, and some stories that go along with it. So we're going to read and translate as best we can. I mentioned this before. When it comes to the raw Aramaic, I actually have the hardest time reading. When it comes to the halachic legal stuff, much easier. I'm familiar with the legal jargon of the Gemara, but the street, regular interaction language of the Aramaic is not exactly what I'm familiar with. So it actually makes it the hardest. So I'm going to try my best. I mean, obviously I prepared by looking at the translation as Steinsaltz gives it to me. I'm going to try my best to remember. But if I don't, I'll look it up in the middle. I have it open my screen.
Is Ellen on?
No, not this morning. Okay, so right from the top. Haiman, one person or an individual, the Mafani Agirda de Dikla, who relieves himself on a tree stump of a palm tree. Yeah. Achadale is connected to him. Achadale today, he brings upon himself or comes connected to him. Ruach Palga, literally like a half spirit. No, 1 second. So this meant
Argument?
No. I think it's damaging. This just means plain. I'm looking up Steinsaltz again, but I think it just means plain damaging. Yeah, I have it in the open here. Spirit of sickness. Okay, sickness. Haiman de Matzli. Back to the text. Haiman de Matzli Reisha Girda de Dikla. One who rests his head on the stump of a palm tree stump. Achadale, there comes to him ruach tzirada, a headache, a spirit that brings him a headache. Actually, Rashbam says a headache in half the head. Half his head hurts. Haiman de Posi Adikla, one who steps over a palm tree stump, or walks over a palm tree, Mikdal, if the palm tree was cut down, Katil, he is cut down. If the palm tree was uprooted, Miyakar Amayas, he too is uprooted and dies. Okay? The Hani Mili, when does this happen? If he didn't put his knee on it. If he puts his knee onto the tree stump, less lamba, no concern.
They're talking about like one or two?
A singular knee, I think. I don't think it says knees.
One they're saying if a person relieves himself.
Oh,
Second one.
What's the word? Defecation.
Right. Okay.
That's the technical term.
Right.
Okay, so that's the statements here. All right. What does the knee represent? Why putting a knee on it stops it? I don't know. Floor's open. Continuing. Chamisha. Okay, this is going to be hard to remember all the translations here because there's different types of trees. I'm not familiar with these trees, but let's see. Chamisha Tule. There are 5 shadows. There are 5 shadows that have a negative result. Okay. Tula de Dikla Yechida, the shadow of a singular palm tree that we had already. Tula de Kanda, the shadow of a tree called Kanda. Tula de Parcha, the shadow of a caper bush, I think that's Parcha. And Tula de Zardasa, and the shadow of what's called a sorb tree. I don't know what that is.
Sorb?
Yeah, you know what a sorb tree is?
Background here.
Yeah.
Various authorities identify this tree as the Sorbus umbellata. It's a small bush or tree from the Rosaceae family. It loses its leaves in the winter.
Of course, yeah.
Really? It's not found in Eretz Israel, but grows in the valley regions in the Near East. Receive a great deal of rain.
There you go.
Rashi, this tree is called Zeradita, while other commentators identify the Zeradita as a species of crab apple.
Okay. We're just gonna. I think we should refer to them by their Hebrew name because the English names are irrelevant to us either way.
Right.
Okay, so we have palm tree, the kanda tree, and the zardasa tree. The sorb tree. Yeah. Ikad Amri, others say Aftula the Arba, also a tree called Arba, the shadow of an Arba tree. Does it give a translation of Arba tree? Let's see here in English. Some say also shadow. Sorry, Arba is a ship. Sorry, not a tree. So it's 5 trees.
Shadow of a ship.
Shadow of a ship. I'm sorry. That I knew already. Yeah, Arba is a ship. And Tula de Arvasa, and shadows of willows. Okay, so shadow of palm tree, singular palm tree, shadow of kanda, shadow of zardasa. Others include ship and willow, and there's our 5. These 5 shadows have a problem. Says the Gemara, Kol de Milsa, here's the rule, the principle about shadows and where demons hang out, in terms of which shadows hang out. Kol de Nafesh Anafe, any tree that has lots of branches. Kashi Tulye, his shadow is dangerous. The Kol de Kashi Siluye, anyone who has hard wood, the wood is very hard. Kasha Tulye, his shadow is also dangerous. Lavar, with the exception of Mikromasa, a tree called Mikromasa, or Karumasa, a Karumasa tree. With the exception of the Karumasa tree, which I guess the Apagav de Kashi Suluye, even though its wood is very hard, like Kashi Tulye, its shadow is not dangerous. Why? Let me translate literally. The Amrle Shei de Labra, because a demon told his son, Parchi Nafshe, Mikarumasa, run away, take yourself away from the Karumasa tree. The EU, because the Karumasa tree, who the Kotel killed La'avuch, your father, the Kotel today, and gonna kill you yourself. End quote from the demon to his son, which is a strange kind of statement. The demon tells his son that the tree killed your father and will kill you, or did kill you. Well, if they kill the father, then why is the father talking? Or is it the mother? And saying, hey, look, this thing killed your father, so run away from it. And later it's killed a kid too. I don't understand what this means, but that's what it says. Stay away from the Karumasa tree, the demons. So where these 5 shadows are dangerous is where demons hang out and therefore dangerous to humans. This Karumasa tree, the shadow is actually dangerous to demons because one demon told his child, run away from that tree because that tree killed your father and killed you too. The Lord's open. I don't know.
Demons can die.
We'll see another demon. I think we had demons that died already. I think we'll have soon, actually. We'll have soon a demon that dies. Yeah.
There is, I know there's like I guess maybe like a constant theme between like idolatry to trees and something about like deification regarding like idolatry. I don't know. Like there's.
Oh, you have that. They have that idol worship where they would. Yeah, there's the Ashera tree. There's also. Like, which was an idol worship at the time.
Yeah.
There's also the certain what was it, the Markulis they threw stones at. There was the
Baal.
No, the Baal they would defecate at.
Yeah. Balpur, yeah.
Balpur they would defecate at, yeah.
Right.
So maybe there's a relationship there. I don't know.
Throwing stones at its figure.
Markulis.
It seemed like it was a common practice. Like I mean,
I don't know. Seems like it. Yeah.
On trees was like a normal thing.
Yeah. Well, didn't really have like bathrooms like we have today,
right?
Under plumbing, right? So find a
stump,
quiet spot and tree stump where you can sit. I guess I don't know.
Right.
Okay, the more continues. Sorry.
The floor is open.
Yeah, I don't know.
The ground is open.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, Omar Ravashi says, Chazina, I observed that Rav Kana, the Parda, she would stay away, Mikule Tola, from all kinds of shadows. Okay, now the Gemara is going to tell us the names or the levels, I guess, of different negative spiritual energies as they're and depend on which tree they hang out. Okay, Bei Pirche, the demons that hang out at the Pirche, I believe, is the caper bush. Yeah, look it up. I think it's the caper bush. Yeah, caper bush.
Put on like smoked salmon.
Yeah. So the caper bush. Bei Pirche, the demons that hang out at the caper bush, they're called Ruchi. They're of the Ruchi level. Ruach, spirit, I don't know. Ruach level. The Bei Zardasa, the ones that hang out at the Zardasa tree, which we said was the Sorb tree. Sheda. They're called shadim, what we translate in English as demons, but they're called shade. So you have a ruach, spirit, shade, demon, I guess. Debei igre, the ones that hang out by the igre is the ships.
In the garden, it says here.
Yeah. No, sorry. It says gardens there?
The demons found that gardens are called.
No, it actually says it's on the roof.
Rishve.
Yeah, by gardens, that's what it says there.
That's what it says in bold even.
That's how they translate it.
It's even direct.
Interesting. Rashbam says, and here in English also, they say it's on the roofs. The Begi, the ones that hang out the roofs, specifically, they're called, they hang out in the roofs. So either roofs or gardens, I don't know. Rishbe, they're called Rishbe. Each of these things, by the way, have counterparts in the holy, like Srafim, Haifanim, Chayos. Right, there's three angels we refer to in our davening. Srafim, Chayos, Hafane. Right, so I'm assuming that those three are counterpart to that. Like we learned this morning, there's counterparts in the holy and the unholy. So I'm assuming these three are counterparts to those. And you can imagine which one's which, because Rishbe means like inflamed. You have the Srafim, which are the burnt ones. Ruach maybe corresponds to Chayos HaKodesh,
right,
spirit and thing, and maybe the Sheda is correspondent to the Efanim. I don't know, I'm making up, but I'm sure there are people who have much better understanding of all this stuff and can better enlighten us, but I'm translating as best I can. Okay, the Gemara asks, like, why do we care what their names are? What's the difference?
right.
What practical differences are there? They're all bad, they're all damaging, they're all dangerous. So what do we care about the difference? Says the Gemara, Lakameya. You have to know how to write an amulet to protect yourself against it. So if someone, God forbid, got damaged got hurt, got injured by one of these demons, right? And they come to a rabbi for like a spiritual remedy, which comes in the form of what's called an amulet, a kameya. It's a long history and tradition of Jews writing kameyas up until and including, I'm sure, actually, no, there's probably people who still do today.
What's the amulet?
Okay, so an amulet essentially is where like mystical incantations are written down on a paper or on a parchment, and the person wears it, and that brings him to the healing or protection. Yeah, this was common practice written throughout generations, the whole history of it. Even I'm sure people till today, but are certainly very, very popular up until and including the 17th and even probably even 18th century. The big controversy with Rabbi Emden and Rabbi Yonis Eibshitz, which we learned about Shabbos afternoon, was over kameh, was over amulets, in which Rabbi Emden accused Yonis and Eibshitz of writing amulets that had incantations that were Sabbatian from Shabbat Tzvi. So the Kameya history tradition is a tradition that exists. In fact, it's in Halacha too. Even Rambam, who doesn't kind of buy into this whole mystical stuff, right? He kind of ignores a lot of the stuff. I phrase that very wrongly. Doesn't buy into it. It's not a right translation because it's very complicated, as I mentioned before, Rambam's relationship with all the stuff. But look, as we noted, Rambam doesn't include any of the stuff in his halacha, right, whereas it's out there, but does. At any rate, he rules with regard to the laws of Shabbos that under certain circumstances, a kameya could be written on Shabbos for a patient who's sick. And he simply says, even if it's going to mentally bring calm the person down, I mean, even if this kameya, this amulet has no actual value.
Placebo.
But if it's a placebo effect where a person calms him down because he believes it, then that's already good enough reason to violate Shabbos. It has medical value and that's worthy of writing for someone on Shabbos. So even Rambam includes that in his halacha. Even the rationalist, as it were, includes this whole, which means obviously it was a tradition even in his time and in his circles were writing that stuff. Right? So the Gemara is saying, I should also note that in history we have many charlatans who have been doing this too, where they charge exorbitant prices. Rambam talks about it. You have to make sure that this guy writes kameyas, where he wrote them enough times that we can actually verify that they've been valid and worked. Otherwise, it's a con artist, right? So you have to know if he's actually legit or not legit in terms of violating Shabbos and whatnot. So throughout history, there have been many, many con artists who would use this kind of stuff. Right. And I imagine till today, there are con artists, people charging people all kinds of money for this kind of stuff, aka Kabbalah Center. I don't mind calling them out. Yeah, absolutely. Selling tons of money for that water.
Madonna's.
The string, all that, the Madonna stuff. Please. It's absolute rubbish and is full-on fraud. Right? But it comes from this tradition of kameyas, of writing these incantations. So therefore the Gemara says it's important to know which demon the person was damaged by or injured by, so that you can write a proper response to heal the person for the one who knows how to do so. That's all I can say. In fact, one could even make the case that the name Baal Shem, which means master of name, is actually a reference to someone who writes these kameas. He knows how to, Baal Shem is a master of the name. He knows how to use names.
Right.
So most of these incantations are names of God in different variations and forms. So he's a Baal Shem. He's a one who knows how to use names to heal. And I've even seen historians that translate the word Baal Shem Tov as in, this guy's not a con artist. He's a good master of a name. He knows how to use it well. He's not one of those charlatans. He's a good one.
Wow.
I've even seen historians translate Baal Shem Tov as that way as well.
With nothing to do with the person.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the way we would refer to the Baal Shem Tov and translate it, but that's how it. Historians many times look at it that way.
That interpretation by
Yeah. Historian. I'm not mine. I'm taking it from historians who see it that way. But there's truth to that interpretation. Yeah.
Where does the Avodah Zarah fall into this play?
Good question. So the bottom line is nothing is not from God, right? So Avodah Zarah is to give something independence from God. So if you believe that these writings have power to heal in and of themselves, that's idol worship. If you believe that this is just the medium through which God heals, not idol worship.
Right.
If you want to take it more subtly, your doctor can also be idol worship.
Sure.
Right? If I believe that the medicine itself heals me, it's idol worship. In a subtle form. But if I understand that this is just God's medium through which He heals me, okay, not idol worship. Same thing with my business. People could turn their businesses also into idol worship, right? My business gives me parnasa. No, Hashem gives you parnasa, and this is the keli, this is the vehicle, right? So the same thing would be with any of these things. So from that perspective, idol worship and oneness of God, there's a very thin line between them, right? Read the first chapter of Rambam's Laws of Idol Worship, and you'll see it there, where there he discusses where the mistake of idol worship came from. And it initially did not come from denying God's existence. It initially started from saying, well, God appointed the sun to give the world nutrients, so let's worship the sun. Because why bother God with this stuff? Let's just talk to the sun. But that mistake to assign the sun agency is the beginning of idol worship. Because it has no agency. It's just a tool in God's hand. Same thing is true with Kameis and any of these other stuff. To give creation, that's right. So as soon as you give any created,
and giving representation to
giving agency to any created being, including an angel, giving an angel agency is an idol worship, form of idol worship. They don't have any agency, self-agency. It's just the vehicle. The same thing would be with the kameis.
No shutuf.
Shituf, that's correct.
Yeah.
God and the partners. Okay, so this is why the Gemara says it's important to know what the name of these idols, name of these demons are, so you know how to write the appropriate kameya, the appropriate amulet to heal the person who has been the victim of these energies, these spiritual energies. Gemara continues. Debei pirchi.
Where line are we?
Second of the wider lines.
Okay.
In the middle. Debei pirchi. The ones that hang out by the caper bush, which we identified earlier as ruche, their ruach, their spirit, whatever that means. Beria she'ein lo einayim. It's a creature that has no eyes. It doesn't see. So the mind of Kimina, what's the difference if it has eyes or not? The net result of being a victim of this is the same.
It has no witnesses.
Says the Gemara, look, Zuzila, to run away from it. Some of the other ones you can't run away from, it'll chase you. This one you can because it's blind.
The demon is the blind.
The demon's blind, yes. The demons, the ruach that hangs out by the caper bush is blind. And therefore we can run away from it. And the Gemara tells us a story. Zimnachad, at one time, there was once a young student amongst the sages that went to relieve himself by a caper bush. Yeah, I guess it's right. People used to go to trees to find a little private spot and relieve himself. So this little student went there. I shouldn't say little. This young student went, and Shama, he heard that there was a demon that was hanging out there, one of these ruachs that was coming to attack him. So the Gazila, and he ran away from it. He started running away. Ki Azla, when the negative spiritual energy was running after him, Chapke Ladikle, the demon bumped into or ended up like hugging, like it got stuck. It got like run into a palm tree. Savach Dikla, the palm tree dried up. Upakahi, and the demon burst.
So demons can also be affected.
There we go. Demons can also die. Also by palm tree.
Other negative energy.
Yeah, so exactly.
Associated with palm tree.
So the one from cape tree, which is a ruach, ended up at the one by palm tree, which was what? But we didn't identify which one it is. Ended up getting attacked there.
Maybe it was between a wall and a palm tree.
I don't know. I can't tell you any more than what I'm reading. Okay, Gemara continues. Gemara asks. The Gemara said, Percha de Be Zardasa, the ones that hang out by the Zardasa tree, that is to say, the sorb tree, shady. We called them shady. Mm-hmm. The Gemara says now, Ha Zardasa, these sorb trees, Tismichel Masa, that's near the city. Loi Pachsa, have no less Mishisin shady than 16 of these demons. If the palm tree is somewhere out, if the sorb tree somewhere out in the field, could be one. But if they're near the city, they have 60, no less. Yeah, an amazing story is coming up. What's the difference? The Gemara asks. Who cares how many demons there are? The net result is the same. The person is a victim. So again, the Gemara's answer is in order to write a proper amulet to heal the one who has been the victim of one of these demons that hang out at the sorb tree, and you have to write one that's going to address 60 of them, not one of them. If it's by a palm tree, if it's at a sorb tree that's near a city. Yeah, you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, that tells the Gemara a wild story. Ready? Hahu bar kasha de masa. There was this guardian, like a police officer of some sort, of the town. The azil v'koyi gabezardasa, and he ended up spending some time by a sorb tree that was near the city. And Alubei, they attacked him. Shisin Shady, 60, he became the victim of these 60 demons that hang out at the sorb tree near the city.
Kind of like being a swarm of them.
A swarm of them attacked him, but he wouldn't know because he can't see them, right? Hmm. He stuck in, and he became very, very. It was dangerous. He was in danger. So he understood that this is a spiritual thing. So he went to one of the sages who have spiritual counter energy.
Went to a Baal Shem Tov.
He went to a Baal Shem. He went to a scholar. Now this scholar, the Loyoda Dezardasa the Shisin Shedihi, he didn't know that this particular person was attacked by 60 of these Shedi. He thought it was one. And he wrote a kameya, a amulet for this city guard to protect him against one demon.
He didn't ask if it was a sorb tree.
Well, he knew it's a sorb tree,
so
but most sorb trees have one. Only if the sorb trees near the city did it have 60.
Something that
so he didn't know.
Has to know that.
That's right. He messed up.
Good Baal Shem.
Yeah,
that's right.
Any Baal Shem with their salt, no.
That's right.
No, 60 is by the gate.
That's right. So he wrote a kameya. He wrote a amulet only in response to one. And Shama, he heard the Talu Chaniga Begavai. They were laughing at him. He heard them laughing. I guess he was spiritually inclined enough to hear these demons, even if he couldn't see them, and he hears them laughing. The Kamasharo, when they were singing, they're like singing, like, chanting in their laugh. Yeah. Hachi as follows. This is what they said.
Wow.
Sudre Demar, Kitzur v'Merabanan. This guy's kerchief is as good as his, is equal to this young rabbi. But Diknabe Bemar, we investigated this guy. The Layode Baruch, he doesn't know how to make a bracha on the kerchief. Right, the kerchief was like we say it.
It's like a bow.
No, kerchief.
Oh.
Kerchief. And sages used to wear a special sudar in North African countries. the scholars till recently, till I guess till like expulsions later, maybe still exists today, where they would wear a certain called the sudra, a special kerchief that they would wear to identify
What's
themselves
kerchief?
as part. A kerchief, like a headscarf,
Oh, okay.
like a
Used to
like
keep
an
money in
Arafat
there,
kerchief, yeah.
It was like where they held their wallet.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like
like a turban. No?
it's a turban of some sort, but there's a unique kind of sudra.
Oh,
It's called the sudra. Sudra is Aramaic for, or Arabic for the head wrap.
Okay.
There's a certain kind that the scholars would wear to identify themselves as part of the scholarship, as part of the leadership of the Jewish people, part of like the Torah scholarship. The Sudra. Google it. You'll see pictures of sages from like the early 30s, 20s wearing the Sudra. Sorry?
The Rashbi?
I have no idea. I never met the Rashbi.
Okay.
But like
Pictures of him.
like the clothing and the head stuff that the Sephardic chief rabbis wear today is like a grandchild of these Sudras.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. So they're like making fun of the sage that he has a Sudra, but he doesn't know how to make a bracha on the Sudra. He doesn't.
Rambam had
headdress.
Many of them probably would have, yeah. So they're making fun of him. He has a Sudra on, but he doesn't even know how to make a bracha on a Sudra. He doesn't know how to write a proper incantation. He's not a Baal Shem Tov, right? He doesn't know how to do this stuff. So they're laughing. So Asahuma Rabbanan, and I guess he couldn't figure out what's going on. Like, what did he do wrong? He wrote a good incantation. He wrote a good amulet. What's wrong on? So Asahuma Rabbanan, there was another one of the sages that came, the Yada, that knew desired this Shisin Shidihava. He knew that the sorb tree, if it's near a city, could have 60, and therefore figured that this guy was attacked by a swarm, not by one. So Kosav Lekameya, he wrote therefore a amulet, the Shisin Shidi that responds to 60 of these demons. And Shama, he heard the Ka'amru that they were saying to each other, Panu minaychu mahacha, pack up your stuff and let's get out of here. End story. It's quite something.
Wow.
Okay, we're gonna stop over here.
This was a different sage who actually.
Yeah, another sage who came that knew the issue. The first guy didn't know what was going on. Like, what did I do wrong? He hears them laughing at him, but it doesn't seem the Gemara that he was a charlatan so much as he didn't know. And he hears them laughing. He's trying to figure out, like, what did I do wrong? I wrote the right thing.
Right.
Until someone came and said, well, hello, you're missing it because there's a whole 60 of them, not one, and you wrote the wrong response. Maybe we did apprentice. I don't know. So this is the Gemara story. You found the Sudra?
Yeah, like the Danish guy.
Yeah, I can write. I'll pull it up on the screen over here. I'm gonna put up Sephardic Sudra. It's called the Sudra.
Yeah.
The headdress. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm pulling up here on the thing. Headdress. Yeah. There's a unique kind of thing called the Sudra. They would wear these special kind of hats or these kerchiefs.
Native Judean headdress.
There you go. That's right. I even saw online there's some movement that some guy was running to like reclaim the Sudra because it became now a symbol of association with Arafat and pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel. And there's I saw this guy online. He's like a outspoken advocate for Israel, whatever, Sephardi, and has this like, I don't know if he's still active or how active it is, but he has like this like idea of like reclaim the Sudra. It's ours. We look. I don't know if it's uniquely Jewish. It was probably for all aristocrats in the Arabic lands.
Right.
And as is always the case, Jews, especially those who were in the scholarship, would dress as aristocrats, as per halacha. Right? That's why an Orthodox Jew, a rabbi, would wear a jacket and a hat. Right. And the Eastern Europeans guys wore the fur with the socks, with the pants tucked into their socks, and the vests. It was all a way of scholarship dressing like an aristocrat. In the Arabic lands, it would have been the Sudra.
Right.
I don't know if the Sudra was uniquely Jewish per se.
Yeah, they're not going to wear fur in the desert.
Right. So depending on where you were,
right,
it was incumbent on a scholar to dress appropriately, and specifically like an aristocrat.
Yeah, and wear like silk or linen.
Whatever it was, and that's where a lot of the traditional dress amongst Hasidic circles or Sephardic circles all come from. Right. What was like the aristocratic dress at the top of the place they came from.
What's ironic now is that people that the dress from cold countries have moved to like warm countries and keep their dress.
Right. So for example, if you look at California, so if you look at the in Yerushalayim, the Hasidim who wear like the white silk kapatas, the striped ones,
right?
Those are OG Jerusalem Hasidim,
really?
Not imports from Europe.
Huh.
And that's why they have the white, because it's way too hot.
Right.
probably too difficult also to get the
Right.
black ones in Jerusalem. And why would you wear a black one in Jerusalem?
Right.
So it became a white one,
Right.
right?
Makes more sense.
So these nuances, you're right. These nuances, a lot of them come from where they came from. And that's all the different dresses that you see amongst the Hasidic circles or even the Sephardic ones. It all comes from this, from what was like the aristocratic dress in the old day.
Yeah.
Especially considering that in the Western world, the lines between aristocracy and the common folk has been blurred.
Right.
What's aristocracy today? A president wears a different clothing than anybody
Right.
else.
Suit,
They wear the same suit like everybody else,
Exactly.
right? So kind of lost it, which is why in these countries, the Hasidim will actually stick to the old aristocratic thing because it makes it distinct. Right? Because today, dressing aristocratically doesn't make it so distinct.
Right.
I wear a hat that makes it a little more distinct than somewhere else, right? But it doesn't really
Right.
make it, it's a real distinction because it's a fedora, it's a modern hat,
Right.
right? But that's really where it comes from, is that a scholar, rabbi, scholar is supposed to dress aristocratically.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. Wonderful day, a good Shabbos. There's still more to come. We still have at least a page or so on this.
Wow.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
A wonderful day.